After the passing of Pope Francis last month, all eyes are now on Rome and Vatican City as the selection of his successor begins. Here to explain what is happening during the conclave, we welcome from the University of Portland Theology Professor David Turnbloom. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We were talking about just how fascinating it is to watch in real time as we saw black smoke a couple of hours ago. So we know that the decision has not been made yet.
Yes, we'll be waiting till tomorrow to see the next votes. We have 2 in the morning, they break, and then 2 in the afternoon for the next 3 days.
Okay,
so.
Set the scene for us of how this all begins to happen. Is it 133 cardinals?
Yes, so there's 133 participating. There's 135 who are eligible, but 2 for health reasons aren't attending. Yeah.
So they've all got to get to Rome, to Vatican City, and then enter seclusion, right?
Yes, essentially they get to Rome, and during the kind of mourning period for the Pope, they have meetings where they're able to give these little speeches called interventions to one another to kind of indicate what their hopes are for the future of the church. And after that period, this morning there was a mass held in the Basilica, and then they all processed into the Sistine Chapel, which was then locked up, and now they're under sequester for the duration.
What's the significance of the robes that they wear in that red color specifically?
Yeah, so the red color is what we call a liturgical color. That's a ritual color meant to indicate the blood of Christ, love for the church, love for Christ, and ultimately also their willingness to die for the faith as well. So red is often a color that's worn by a Catholic clergy during celebrations of martyrs to indicate their willingness to die for their faith.
So obviously so much is happening behind closed doors. How much do we know about the process once they're actually in the conclave?
So the process when they're inside the chapel voting is pretty well known. It's actually guided by some ritual books where each cardinal is given a piece of paper that they write down the name of the person they're voting for, and one by one they process up and deposit their ballot into a urn that is then counted by 3 cardinals who are every day are chosen at random from the entire group. So that job kind of can rotate. And once those names are all read off, they're all pierced through with a large needle, strung down a red thread. And once they're all done and they've been counted, if there isn't a 2/3 majority, those ballots then get burned with black smoke. If there is a 2/3 majority, the person who's been elected Pope is asked if they accept, and if they do, what name they're going to choose as their papal name. And then those ballots are burned with some chemicals that make it white smoke, and that tells everyone outside we have a Pope.
So once we do see that white smoke, tell me more about the significance of the papal name, because that's a really important part of the story.
Yeah, so you know, in the first 400 or 500 years, people elected Pope didn't necessarily choose a new name. That happened actually when one Pope who was given the name of a Roman god decided, you know what, I'm going to choose a different name so that we don't have a Pope named after a Roman god. And that started this tradition of choosing a name that's kind of signaled what this Pope wants to do with their papacy, kind of showing a preference for a particular temperament, a particular value system that they want to embody with their papacy. So Pope Francis, for instance, looking at someone like Francis of Assisi, it's like, that's the type of person I want to be.
A very significant papacy that we saw through Francis, and as we're looking back on his legacy, what do we think that the cardinals are thinking about as they cast their votes this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of them are thinking about, like, what does the church need right now? Not what does my part of the church need. What does the church universal, which is what Catholic means, what does the church universal need in a leader? The Pope is supposed to be a unifying symbol that leads the entire church. While they are certainly the Bishop of Rome, which is what the Pope is, they have a larger responsibility. And so I think the cardinals there are now thinking and praying carefully about what the church needs. And of course, each one of them, being unique individuals, has different things they feel are important. And hopefully that's what's going on in the conversations that are happening right now in the conclave.
And they're all from different parts of the world, right? So maybe we might not completely understand someone else's experience and the things that are top of mind for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a big part of why these little intervention speeches before leading into are so important, so they can listen to one another. hopefully with as much love and charity as possible, and really try to understand what each one of their perspectives is bringing to the conversation.
A conclave doesn't happen all that often, and we've been talking about how fascinating it is that the film just came out so recently. So some of us think that we're experts on what's going on inside there. What's it like for you as a professor of these things to watch it happen in real time and be able to talk with your students about it as well?
Yeah, I mean, it is a big event that does kind of bring up these questions about politics and religion, how those things go together. It's a really nice opportunity to kind of just get to hear from people about what they hope, for the next pope, what they hope for the future of the church. And, as somebody who is a Catholic theologian, I do think a lot about, like, okay, how is this leader going to shape things? But at the same time, I also really hope that we don't put everything on this person, right? That we take, just like most leaders, we don't want to put everything on them. We want to say, okay, how am I also picking up the responsibility I have as part of this community, and thinking about what do I want to be as a member of this community as well.
I know it's hard to predict, but any idea how long this one will go for?
I mean, so since 1900, I think the longest one has been about 4 days or so. Probably not very long. But there are certainly longer ones in the past, so you never know.
So it's Wednesday right now. We'll see by the weekend where we stand and go from there. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us. Great chatting with you. Okay, we'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.